Welcome back to another episode of the Shortsighted podcast, which it's been a while. Today we're talking to James, who in 2017 made it all the way up to -7 diopters thanks to his very helpful retail optometrists. He was then warned about all the potential consequences at that point about the high myopia, like retinal detachment and other issues. So he did some research, he found myopia, he started to work on his eyesight, and his normalized are at -1.75. So he's down from -7 diopters to -1.75 diopters since 2017. Super excited to have him on. We've been talking about this since last year. To have him on, he's joining us from Singapore today. Welcome, James.
I started out about 2017. I went in and they said, "Wow, your eyesight now. I've had myopia since I was I think maybe 5. Didn't really start wearing glasses till I was maybe 10." And then, obviously the same story, progressive myopia, always worse, every time you'd go in, to the point where you're just stressed to go see anybody about your eyes. It's like, can you read that line? No, I can't read that line. So, in 2017, they said, oh, now you're at -7, so I'm like, wow, and then that was kind of finally when they start talking about, retinal detachment, all the different macular degeneration, the whole thing. So, I'm like, whoa, it's like, you guys said, you never told me anything about this, so I think if anything, everything that you've shared is this kind of idea of being empowered and, being able to inform yourself to some extent, obviously on your eye health in general. So,
yeah, where are you at currently?
So right now, my normalized are 1.75, and it's been. I'm probably going to be at 1.5 here, probably at the end of February is kind of where I am. And so I've been consistently around dropping a diopter about 1 a year. So it's kind of
just take a moment. That is just, and this is not for effect. This is really, I genuinely go, wow. Right? Like that is...
It is amazing. And, it's that kind of thing in the beginning, kind of like, like you shared, it's like, you're so taught that, that it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. There's nothing you can do about it. And then all of a sudden you start to see progress and, you start informing yourself, you check out Google Scholar, you check all that stuff out. And then little by little, you're like, wow, this really does work. And, I went in, I kind of took your advice. I haven't been to an eye doctor for a while, but at the end of 2018, I went to a place in Singapore I'd never been. And eyesight had come down like almost 2 diopters, in that period of time. So I had that first quick diopter, drop in, maybe 3-4 months, and then another 0.75. And then I'm not, I'm basically now at the point where it's like I've got my Snellen, I check it out. I'm not obsessed on it, but it's kind of like, you talk about, I've got my street signs that I can see, where the license plates, you can, after a while, you just kind of get into that routine of like, okay, here it is. Where's the lighting? And you kind of get that where your sweet spot is, kind of where you're getting the challenge, but not overdoing it. And then of course we all make those early mistakes. When I first started, I'm like, all right, just drop it as fast as I can and see what happens. And I'm like, oh man, I can't see anything. So, then I just totally got into, just the good habits. And right now what's been really nice in the last year, I'm getting to, I was working with differentials, obviously with the high myopia. And then now I'm with good lighting, I can work on the computer with nothing, just my regular eyes, So that is just like, absolute revelation. I mean, it's like, wow, I can't believe it, so it's super exciting. So, and I get the challenge of like, oh, I'm a little close, end of the day, I'm a little tired, I'm a teacher, so have to do some work on the computer, some planning, all that kind of stuff. But it's a little bit flexible there. So
the other way around right now. I mean, if we're talking -7, right? Like you'd start getting, and then they sell you glasses for presbyopia, regardless, right? The lens hardens a bit. You get used to those, and then you can't see anything at any distance anymore, right? Absolutely. Then you need glasses for just all over.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's just a fantastic journey. And I keep kicking myself. One of the advantages, obviously, here we've got great light here in Singapore, right on the equator, essentially. So, that's been really helpful. I do a lot of. I'm an older guy. I'm a little over 50 now, but yeah, I've never been like big into cell phones. I mean, my wife always kids me. It's like, why don't you check this? So, not a big cell phone guy, so I don't have that problem as much. But I do a lot of biking, a lot of running, a lot of outdoor time. Try to work on that. So yeah, I definitely, I feel like I've gotten that right stimulus. I've consistent habits, and it really is. It's just all about patience, understanding kind of how your eyes function, and then little by little, working through the process and being patient about it. It really is, like you said, the journey. You just kind of it's just wow. And now I can tell my eyes are getting better, drop down a quarter diopter, and then just keep at it. So I'm totally motivated. It's the world around us just feels like it's collapsing with all the bad and negative news, and then yet you're like, oh wow, I can actually change my eyesight and improve it. It's just incredible. So
did you do contact lenses or glasses mostly?
I did have contact lenses over the years, but in 2018, at the beginning of 2018, I just got rid of the contacts altogether. And, I was just like, I'm tired of these things in my eyes. And that, again, was a liberating experience. I was like, wow, I'm just, get rid of those things. And it really is that kind of thing where okay, you're eating, you got to hire my, it's like I'm eating, I take off my glasses. I'm going to look at my food just with my regular eyes, any kind of close up. And then, like you said, to get get your differentials, get your normalized, and get into that habit of that. And I think I got into that habit pretty quick. I mean, I think we all have that kind of, like you said, you're looking online, you're like, is this for real? Is this possible? It's like, you're trying to, reprogram yourself. And
I keep forgetting. I need to order the fake beard online. I was going to do the next podcast with a fake beard because I want to feed in a little bit more into the skepticism. I think the skepticism is super healthy. I want to lean into that. I want to encourage that, because people always ask, can I trust you? And I'm like, no, you cannot. Right. Like,
right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that is good. I mean, it's really, skepticism is healthy. And, there's obviously advantages of the internet. And, you've talked at length in your things about checking out Google Scholar, checking out, real, studies, peer-reviewed studies, checking that stuff out. And you start kind of, once you take control of your eyes, you start turning into kind of an information junkie. It's like, wow, look at this, and,
be careful of the conspiracies, because that tends
I'm
to,
not that far. Yeah.
The correlations are quite strong, because there's a lot of like health stuff where you go, wow, now all of this, anytime they say it's genetic, you start going,
yeah,
is it?
Yeah. No.
And then you fall into these holes. I was going to ask also, where do you buy glasses, locally or online?
Just online. Yeah. And that's worked out pretty well for me. And for the, so many years way back, I was like, oh man, I didn't even want the glasses. They were all thick, high myopia. And now it's kind of fun ordering glasses. I'm like a couple different shapes, try things out, and I'm like, wow, I come to school. Oh, look, some new glasses, I'm like, okay, so I've been actually having fun with it. So, it's been a good experience. So
do you mention it to other people?
I do on occasion. And it, like you said, it's tricky. They're kind of like, it's like, yeah, I've heard about that, and then, but, it's like, when does that click? And you say, for me, I said, it took obviously forever, but, there's just a point where they said, oh, you're at this level. I'm like, that's not possible. You guys told me years ago, oh, your eyes will, stabilize at a certain point. And then I think of my father. My father's had, perfect, if not better than perfect eyesight his whole life. He's worked on close-up stuff. And I'm like, his eyes have never, gotten worse. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, it's like, there can't be just people, there's more to this. So I think that was when I just said, there has to be more. So I started, looking around on internet, and then, I stumbled across your stuff, and then I, started checking this out. I'm like, is that possible? And then you start, yeah, okay. The eyeball, data driven, it makes sense, this kind of, defocus and, this kind of progressive myopia. And, once you start piecing it together, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And like you said, here's the whole disconnect between the science and the big money-making incentive of the whole eyeglasses industry and everything that goes with it. So,
especially in Singapore, because the incidence rate there is like in the high 90s, and it was actually declared as one of the 3 main health issues by the government, and yet they seem to not be interested in addressing it actually.
I know it's insane. It is absolutely insane. Yeah, I mean, it is rare when you see somebody who doesn't have glasses in Singapore. In the native, the native Singaporeans. They're not the just people like my random self, like myself. But yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's a huge issue. I've seen it. There's a few. I've seen a few parks in Singapore where there's a sign and it says, get your kids outside. It's healthy for the eyes. There's a little bit of a myopia campaign, but it's pretty.
They declare, they literally said our top 3 health concerns. I forget what the other 2 are, but one of them was short-sightedness, myopia. Yeah. And actually reached out, tried to talk to that government agency, but they don't even answer emails. Wow. I wonder what they get paid for. They just have no, there's no interaction at all.
No, that's really unfortunate because what you're doing is it's amazing. And you just wonder when, I don't know, it's basically I guess the truth, or that, you can, reverse myopia. When is that going to get out? Because it is obviously all the studies you see, it's, 2050, half the planet is going to need, some form of corrective lenses. So yeah, it's a big issue, and obviously all the cases, all the health issues that come along with it when you get older. So yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, it's been an absolute great journey. And watching your videos, your daily beard has always been like, because my wife is tired of hearing. She doesn't need any glasses. She's like, all right, stop it. It's like, stop. And it's like, oh, I saw this. Like, yeah, whatever. She's like. So, she doesn't need it. So you do really feel isolated because, if you're not, first, I would say non-believers or people that aren't working on this, or people that, who have good eyesight, they're like, yeah, whatever, they don't want to hear this story. And, so you do feel alone, and then there's those moments where you feel a little crazy. It's like, is this really happening? Is this, so.
What about active focus? Was it hard to find?
No, I don't think so. It's like, yeah, you kind of, at the beginning, you kind of play around with, I hear I'm squinting, and then, no, that's not right. And then just kind of relaxing your eyes. And then I think it really is important to get that right normalized. I think that's I feel like really helps for the active focus. Obviously, if you go too far and you're silly at the beginning and drop it, and you can't see anything. And then just understand. For me, one of the big things has always been understanding the light situation. Obviously as you get older, you need a little bit more light. So outdoor light in Singapore in the day is fine. Nighttime, big indoor areas, like an airport, but obviously nobody goes to the airport anymore. But those kind of different situations and kind of figuring out what your needs are. A lot of times, what I'll do when I drop. I finally dropped down a quarter diopter. In the evenings, I'll take my previous normalized and work with those in the evening for like a month, and then I'll transition completely over to the current one. So there's always a little bit of a transition, I think, at night with that.
What would you say motivation-wise? Obviously, the health concern, that was one thing.
Yeah,
Any other reasons?
I think I've always, I think I've always wanted to have good eyesight. I think, you're pretty much indoctrinated from an early age to say that, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way it is. I just, as soon as there was just that kind of glimmer of hope that, I could do something about it and I could work on it. It was so motivating for me. And, there's that early part where you're like, I'm not sure, is this working? Is it not? Am I just, delusional, or, what's kind of going on? And then, and then I actually went in, and, that one that went in to see the eye doctor, it's like, oh yeah, it's lower. It was a different one. I went in, it's like, wow. I went out and I was like, yes, it was like a huge victory, to be moving in that direction. So, yeah, I think that's health wise. I mean, yeah, obviously, detachments doesn't, it certainly doesn't sound like a fantastic option. And, I think you had mentioned something about LASIK a long time ago. I had a situation, I think, long time ago where I went in and it was just kind of a free, are you a candidate? And fortunately, these guys were fairly respectable. They said, oh no, your eyes dilate, your pupils are too big, you wouldn't be a good candidate. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, I'm not doing that, So I think I dodged that bullet a lot, especially once you understand how the eye works. And, that obviously that doesn't necessarily do anything for your, axial elongation, the eyeball length, or anything like that. So I think that was, I dodged a bullet there. But no, it's just, and then once you get started with this, it's just, yeah, it's you're just super excited. So just keep working with it. So yeah, it's fantastic. So
how long did it take you, would you say, to figure stuff out? And I'm asking this because mostly when people are happy, they don't say anything, right? Like that's the normal expected bit. But when people are not happy, they complain. And I'm aware that there's a ratio there, obviously, that people aren't happy, you're going to hear more from. But I get people always complain that the website's too confusing, oh, there's too much stuff there. So I'm just curious, since you did so well with it, how difficult was it to get into it?
I think once I was onto your website and I knew what I needed to do, it didn't take me that long. There was just kind of the initial, steps. I received your 7-day email at one point, but I think at that time I'd already been looking at your website for a while. And then it was just kind of the question of, do I get the normalized first, the differential? Because you have a lot of videos over the years for different ones. It's just like, you're just your battle of trying to get the message out and, so through. But no, I think it was pretty clear. I think it's really, I mean, obviously the most important thing for sure, and that's, as I'm multiple years, like almost 4 years into it plus, is just that, your close-up. You have to figure out your close-up stuff right away. And I guess I didn't really stumble on that for a little while. I think at the very early, before I even got to you, I was like, okay, I was wearing some reading glasses with my contacts on to try to, get rid of the stress. And then it was like, okay, then it's just kind of, like you said, it's trial and error, kind of figuring out what works for you. You can't say, oh, you need this, this particular, minus, drop it this or that. I mean, it is everybody's got to kind of work that stuff out themselves. And like you said, it's, you have to become knowledgeable about the whole thing as well. So, and how the eye works.
Which is annoying, becoming knowledgeable about anything.
I know exactly, but it is so amazing the disconnect between the science and, the so-called, eye care professionals that are just there to sell contacts, glasses, the whole thing. And you just wonder, do they never look at any of these, literally thousands and thousands of studies that show that, pretty much any mammal, lenses will make, progressive myopia and the whole thing. So yeah, it's been a great journey. Your site, I think you revamped it at one point, at some point. I don't know. I think it works for me. But I don't know, maybe not for everybody. So
there you go. That's all I need. All I need is one person.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome for me. And it's for me, it's like anytime people, because anytime that people start talking about the internet, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. Like you said, a lot of weird conspiracy stuff, but there's also a lot of information out there. And obviously the point is to kind of how to sift through it. And that kind of brings me to the question I had for you. How did you kind of mentioned a little bit about, at one point you kind of decided you wanted to do something about it, and it was almost pre-internet era. How did you, what got you kind of saying, I can take charge and turn things around?
It just my glasses were too strong. I was at -5. My eyes looked all small. You know how that is, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
stronger
Yeah.
glasses, a little, you get these little beady eyes. I was single. And then my work is very analytical. Like I'm trained to look for bullshit. I mean, that's a big part of my job description. And when I went to the optometrist and asked, and they said, "Oh, it's genetic. We don't know." It's like, I'm not a geneticist, but I know that's not very likely.
Yeah.
And then I started digging, and they're all medical journals. At that point, I just went to libraries, and just literally, I mean, lens-induced myopia and pseudomyopia are just topics that go back 50 years in their own journals.
Crazy.
I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
A long shot from fixing it, like that was a whole different topic, but just the revelation, I couldn't believe it. There was a while where literally I was like, I'm in the twilight zone. Right? Like you read an ophthalmology journal, like it's literally their publications going, yes, lenses cause more myopia. And it's just like, how is that even?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's amazing.
Absolutely crazy.
Which makes me sound like a crazy person, right? Which is why I'm enjoying these conversations. Plus, I feel like I need a fake beard because how do you deal with, you know what I mean? How do you say this with a straight face without sounding like a crazy conspiracy person? Whoops.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. That's definitely, it is. And you do talk, you have to kind of read your audience, obviously, you know, when you start talking stuff like, you know, it's almost like, are those glasses getting on your nerves? Would you like to, you know, you know, I've got the solution for you, you know, it's like, but no, I'll do my best to keep sharing it with people around me. Fortunately, nobody else in the household needs any glasses here. So, but definitely with a few friends I brought it up with, and they seem a little bit curious. So, you know, maybe I'm just kind of planting the idea there, and they'll get back to it. So
the main thing is motivation, right? Like you have to have a reason to want to deal with it. Because for a lot of people, I stopped talking to people about it. Most of my friends don't even know, because there's no point unless you have a reason, right? Because there's a friend of mine who's got -2 contact lenses. And I'm like, dude, 2 years from now, that will be over. And he's like, okay.
Exactly.
But right now it's 12 seconds in the morning. I go, broop, and I'm already done with the problem, right? Like, and that's stuck in my head as that makes sense, right? Like the man goes, I've solved this. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not your elegant, beautiful solution, but this, right? I go like this twice in the morning and it's done.
Exactly.
So,
No, you definitely have to have that motivation for sure. And, you know, if you start looking around, I mean, at the same time, there are other organs in the body, you know, the liver and other things that can kind of, you know, get back healthy again. And I had this problem that always kind of, I think one of the things that bugged me was this idea that, okay, so it's normal that our eyes actually get out of shape, but it's not okay that they get back into shape. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I think this whole idea, all of a sudden your eye is just getting longer, and it's like, okay, there has to be something else at play here. So I think once you
yeah, it gets longer, so we can admit that, but it doesn't get shorter.
It can't get shorter. What you know?
Except studies say it does. Okay, fine, so it does, but not with what you're saying. Like it's always, every time I'm fighting the next, they never run out of counter arguments. But they just get increasingly more silly. But it's like, okay, so in your own journals it says the eye also gets shorter. Yeah, it can, but not because of what you're doing.
Not because of you,
No, so that's not possible. So, okay, all right, okay then.
It has been, it has been a fantastic journey, and obviously I'm not done yet, but it really is. I always, you know, anytime I get a little bit, okay, I'm stuck in Singapore and all this stuff, and I was like, hey, but my eyes are getting better, you know. So it's always that little kind of, you know, things. There's a little bit of little bright spot there. So
another year, and then you're real close.
I'm definitely going to be moving in closer and closer, and I get those same kind of moments where, you know, sometimes in the, you know, another advantage I have here in Singapore, I don't have a car, so you know, so I don't, you know, I can kind of play around, you know, with night. I'm just walking, and, you know, you don't have to be perfect with your eyesight all the time. So I think that's kind of helped me. I've had good light here all the time, just really disciplined about you know, close up and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely,
it's a neat city. Singapore is, I've only been once, And I'm personally not the biggest fan because I don't love rules and I don't like being reminded
Oh
about the rules.
yeah.
But it is a pretty cool city for being able to get out and around, for sure.
Yeah.
So small and compact, and everything's clean and nice. And
yeah, it is. It's worked out for us. I'm hoping to leave here at some point here, but yeah, definitely be nice.
Hear that, Singaporeans? You hear it?
Yeah,
can't wait to get out of there.
I can't get away. No. It's been a positive experience overall.
We could have met in person too if it wasn't for this COVID stuff, because I'm due for a trip there.
I know, and I'd seen some of this. Oh, he's based in Southeast Asia. It's like I'm in Southeast Asia, so yeah. So
I've been wanting to do that, and I've almost gone close enough with the motivation to actually go, and then this happened. Right? And I was one of those idiots who said, a month or two, it's going to be over. Nobody can afford to keep the borders closed.
That's what I thought too. I thought, Changi Airport, are they really going to close it? Apparently they are going to close it. So forever until further notice. So yeah. It's we'll kind of see what happens here, but at least this eyesight improvement journey, has definitely kept me motivated, and definitely thanks to all your resources for sure. Those videos here and there, it's like, I like the Daily Beer. I love those 5-minute videos. It's like, it kind of keeps you kind of motivated and, okay, all right, I should pay attention to that. So,
yeah. Right now I feel guilty for not doing more of those. Which is
No, this is my, I normally don't have a beard, but it's the COVID look. I'm just kind of COVID caveman kind of look. So, but we are here to be actually in the classroom in Singapore. They've, dealt with the virus pretty well. So, we're actually in the classroom. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's nice.
I don't know to what extent we're allowed to talk about this kind of stuff. I always hear that YouTube automatically gets you in trouble for using the magic word, but I'm glad everything's good.
Yeah.
Glad. And I'm super happy. Because I remember last year when we had a little email back and forth, I'm like, come on, let's talk about it. Because especially coming from high myopia, coming so far down, those are the stories where I'm like, this is motivating, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I'm skeptical, I'm visiting the thing, or even if I'm just procrastinating, I think your face going, hey, -7 to we're chatting without you wearing glasses. That's
yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah. I mean, I pinch myself on a regular occasion, like, wow, it's like decent lighting. I mean, you're at a table, everybody's face is clear, everything on the table is clear. I'm like, how is this possible? I mean, a few years ago, it's like, I got like, it is, it brings a smile. And my wife's like, oh God, not that again. It's like, you don't know what I've gone through, so.
It's hard to relate. I understand that because it's for sure, like I keep my mouth shut about things because if it's not you, right, like somebody who hasn't had the problem, plus there's only so many times you can hear excitement from somebody till you're like,
I know, they're like, okay, there he goes again. So
but that's why we have the forum and the Facebook group and all that stuff, so we can vent about.
No, it's good. I mean, those are great resources for people around the world, especially now, to be able to share tips and keep people motivated and encouraged, because I mean, it does work. You just need good habits, patience, and just, keep at it. I mean, if it took you decades to get where you are, it's relatively short to actually move back, so if
it's true.
So, in terms of time, so.
Plus now we're not getting older, by the way, because I'm almost 50. So let's not say that. That's getting older.
No. I know. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I suppose I should shave my beard, but
no, I shave mine because the locals are kind of freaked out by dudes with beards. But
they are around here. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm not doing it, but also you're not going to need reading glasses, or at least the odds are tiny compared to normal people.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. So it's one of those things where I'm able to work. I set up in the teacher's kind of prep room there, and I'm like, I take off my normalized. Boom! I'm marking papers, working on the computer. It's all good. Yeah, it's like wow, So, but I worked through the steps with all the differentials. I got the right where I needed to be, and I think that's probably the thing over the years that you get a little bit better at, is just knowing that sweet spot. Where where, position, lighting, all that kind of stuff. And you get better at knowing, oh, that's exactly where I need to be. I've got a little bit of challenge with perfect lighting conditions that I know, in bad conditions, it'll be like this. And then, like you said, morning vision compared to the evening, or, if you've done some close-up. So yeah, you just kind of better understand how what the conditions for good eyesight and what you need to do. So yeah, it's been cool.
So to see, people listen to what James said, right? Stop complaining to me. Stop sending me emails saying it's complicated. Read the stuff. Here's proof right here. You heard it, you watched it.
I mean, it really, I mean, you've said it in a few. I think I listened to one of your podcasts a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, the concepts are pretty basic, really. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's like you said, but it's just getting those habits in place and just sticking to it, giving it time. So, I mean, that's what you need to do. Yeah. And you will get results, and you'll probably, be in disbelief, but it works. So.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much for sharing that, James.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Even though it took us a little while since last time,
no
you
problem.
were like, not yet. That's super awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But you better be grateful.
Yeah. For that. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait for sure. So I feel like from the videos I've seen, it's like, wow, I think I know this guy already. So it's pretty cool. So
yeah, it's weird, right?
It
I'll stop the recording somewhere around here.
Perfect.
That's probably
Perfect.
Good for the.
That sounds fine.
For the
that's probably all people can watch. So.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly because people then they go, okay, why don't I ask this and ask that, and how did they do this and how did they do that? And I'm like, the same way you're gonna do it, right? Like you're gonna read up on it.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Mainly, I'm intending these to be here you go, right? Like, and if 500 people, if I'm not that lazy, like eventually, like if enough people talk about it, it'll become the thing where the volume of anecdotes becomes overwhelming to the point that it's difficult to ignore. I really think that's kind of my goal. Is like, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. Firsthand, instead of just Facebook post, text on the screen, like we're actually talking and we're going, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, you need that, and it totally works. And I was in that same kind of disbelief for quite a while, and then it definitely works. So let's hope we can turn the tide and get more people thinking about taking control of their eyesight and taking steps to slow down or reverse any of it. So very cool. Super. But I definitely thank you so much for all the resources and the motivation and everything else. It's been incredible. It's a great journey.
And that was James. I hope you found that somewhat helpful and inspiring and encouraging. That is a dramatic change in quality of life and obviously much improved eyesight. Hopefully we'll have him back when he's done with the last-ish diopter that's remaining. If you haven't subscribed in your favorite podcast app, please do so. There's more episodes coming. I'm recording another one this week, actually, finally back on track with these. Hopefully they keep you working on your own eyesight. If you have questions, comments, email me. Let me know. Jake at Myopia. See you in the next one.
Meow, 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 meow.